Well, as you know, Carolyn and I have been living off grid for 3 years. And I tell you, the solar panels, they're already shaded. It's I think it's 3:30 and they're already shaded. You can see the sun starting to tuck down behind these trees here. It's not a very thick layer of trees, but that's what's shading it. It's a little bit more of a struggle this time of year, but I figure I only have a few more weeks left to deal with it. About 3 weeks actually, because then the sun will start coming back up. So 3 weeks of this, and then another 3 weeks for the sun to come back up, and then we should be okay. But it's a little bit of a struggle right now, but there's just no place else to put it on the property. I mean, there's no sun anywhere. I could cut those trees down, but then over there crossways, it's in the neighbor's trees, so you just have to suffer through it. I know somebody's gonna say, get a windmill. Missouri is not like New Mexico and western Texas. There is no wind here. I mean, we're surrounded by trees, so any wind we do get is pretty mild. I mean, we've had huge 60-mile-an-hour storms, but down here, you don't feel it. But I tell you, there is a huge sense of pride that I just cannot convey, that I would like to be able to try to convey, because I think there are a lot of people that miss the point of what it is I'm doing and what I'm trying to explain. I see too many people saying, I got so-and-so doing this for me and so-and-so doing that for me. Part of the challenge is, and what makes it so neat, is doing it yourself. I saw a video today. It said, if you're the kind of guy like me, I hope I can quote it right. I'm sure I'm not going to be able to. If you're a guy like me, you'll go and do something that you have no idea how to do. Of course, there's plenty of YouTube videos, which reminds me of the well. I didn't know anything about wells. I didn't know anything about well packers. I didn't know well pumps. I didn't know anything. And yet here it is, a well that works. It was an old well I had to redesign. I've talked to you about this many times. Not redesign, but redo. I had to put a well liner in, a well packer. Well, speaking of YouTube videos, there were like 3 videos on how to put in a well packer, and one of them was completely wrong. They didn't have a seal. And then the others that did it, they were well drillers. So when they were making a video, there were large gaps in their videos because they would get busy working and forget to record. So there was just not a lot of videos. But I found one. It was okay. It was a family doing it. They didn't really explain it very well, but I got the idea. And there was one company selling well packers. It was like $150. But I'm telling you, this is by far the coolest thing I've ever done. And if I could explain, here's how I want to explain it. You go buy a new car, and you really love that car for a year, but after a while, you kind of get tired of it. I mean, our truck is, 5 years old? Bought it brand new. I loved that truck. Don't get me wrong, I still really love the truck. Nothing on it is broke. It runs flawlessly, but it's not like it was when it was new. Just, you lose that feeling. But when you do this, and every time you turn it on, you have that feeling of pride. It's like, I did that. We are getting water because I did that. So I thought I'd come in for a minute. They've been doing Air Force jet exercises a lot here lately. And I know what they're doing. They're practice targeting my camper. And they do runs where they come straight in towards the camper and they come back up. I don't know why they target it, guys. Guess because it's been surrounded by trees, so it's a real narrow target. But I'm sure that's what they're doing. And they do it every day now for the last several weeks. So I thought I'd come in, so I apologize. I can't take you on a tour. But here's what's even more exciting is when we first did the well, I was running it off the generator, which was very cool, don't get me wrong. Had a 110 volt outlet well and generator. That was really cool because I always thought you had to have 220 well pumps. But now we run it off the solar panels. And again, I can't explain to you how cool that is. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock every day, I filled the tank. We have an IBC tank out there. I should mention that. We have an IBC tank out there, and we fill it. I fill it. And on cloudy days, I don't mess with the well pump anymore. I just fill it on the days that it's sunny. And the thing is during the wintertime, from 10 a.m. to about 1 p.m., I can run that well nonstop. So it doesn't matter how empty the tank is, I can fill it back up. It's 275 gallons. We've never ran it empty, never even came close. So then I run it into here. I think you can see there's enough light. This is our water heater. And it's even strange when you go to the hardware store to try to figure out how to hook this up. You need components and different things. And you're telling them that you have a camping water heater. They look at you like you're just from Mars. I try to explain to them that we live off grid on solar panels, and they just don't get it. But I am telling you, if I lived in a regular house, I would take that tank water heater out. That is so inefficient. It heats water up to say 130 degrees, 120 degrees. And so what do? You turn on the hot water, and then you turn on the cold water because the water's too hot. But this, you can regulate the temperature of the water as it's coming out. So you're controlling how much energy you're having to put into heating the water. It's much more efficient. Smarter, you're not heating water when you're not using it. This only heats water when you turn it on. You know, I worry about our well. I've worried about it for the longest time. It took me 2 years to finally get it straightened up, but I always thought if I had to sell this place, I would have to confess that the well gets dirty during storms, big storms. But this entire year, the well has not gotten dirty. I've dug that ditch, the cheapest thing I've done so far. The well repair only cost $500 with the housing and the well packer and the well pump, all of it. But now if I wanted to sell a property, which I don't think I'll ever sell, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying it was always a concern. I would sell it for significantly more than what we bought it for. So then, and I know this is going to sound silly, so we have that tank outside, and I have an RV pump. It's actually kind of like a pump that you would put on a tank for the back of your lawnmower so you could water your roses or something. It's 3 gallons a minute. There's Skitty. I guess she wants a snack. There's Skitty. She has to have her snack when she comes in. And I always try to give her a little, it's not a snack, it's actually just cat food. But I always try to give her a little bit of snack when she comes in. That way, when I call her, she'll come running. And she does. She may not want to come in, but she'll come in. So it's just a training thing. And there's times I want her to come in an emergency, like when there's a raccoon outside. So we have 1,200 watts of solar. Now, I know that people just cannot grasp what that means. And it doesn't really mean anything, except we have very little electric. And I get this sense that some people think that once you have solar, you can run the entire planet. You just can't. We don't run an air conditioner. And I even told Carolyn today, we were talking about how she is getting cold outside. She used to love the cold, but her hands are getting numb, her feet are getting numb. And I said, well, I would rather us be adapted to the heat more than the cold, because we got all that firewood out there, which is something else that I'm very proud of. You know, people want me to build a generator. I get this all the time. They want me to take an old generator, take the carburetor out, and make a smoke machine basically out of firewood. And when you take that smoke and feed it into the carburetor, spark plug will ignite that smoke and it'll run just like gasoline. And I heard one person, you have plenty of firewood. You can never have plenty of firewood. Firewood is for heat. Solar panels are for electric. The generator is just in case I need more electric. It's just everything here is just so neat that I put it together myself. The tiny house. Now, for some reason, I don't seem to have the pride that I thought I would with the tiny house. I'm not sure why. It's kind of like that car feeling. It's done. It was neat when I was here. I remember I would come up here before the furniture was in and the wall. You know, Carolyn did the pallet wall and all that. But the wood stove was running. I'd always kept it warm, so when I came back up here to work the next day, it'd be warm in here. Or Carolyn, either one of us. And I'd take a chair and I would just sit in the corner and watch that wood stove. And I'd fall asleep every time. every time. And that was before I had the intake ventilation in the back here, so I always thought maybe I was depriving myself of oxygen. But now I know it's that little blue flame in there. I think that blue flame ignites something in your brain to go to sleep. The pride is kind of over with in the house, like it. But that well and the electric and the power of the well, the feeling just doesn't go away. Every time I fill it up, it's like, wow, look at that. Well, now we have something new. And it's not the toy itself that I'm proud of. It's the capabilities that we have. So I know I'll never get tired of this, but this is the wash machine we bought the other day. People keep asking me what kind of wash machine is it. I don't sell things on YouTube. Google apartment wash machine. Or go to Amazon, I should say. Go to Amazon and type in apartment wash machine and do your own research. This one is similar to one we had years ago when we actually lived in an apartment, but is wider in both directions. About the same height though. I think what we had before was probably like a 9-pound, and I think this one's an 11-pound, so it's a little bigger. But it's really nice, and it's got all these fancy buttons. Makes music. It's programmable. You can do whatever you want to it. So that has a computer in it. Think about that. There is a computer in there that makes this all programmable. There's none of this timer, turn knobs or anything. It's all a computer. So we have that pure sine wave. Now a year ago we wouldn't have this because we have modified sine wave. But now we have pure sine wave and we can run it. Now think about all the systems that we had to put together to make this work. So we have water. Well, to the normal person, that's no big deal. You got water in the house, of course it's no big deal. But think about it. We're running an RV pump from a tank, so that pump kicks on when the wash machine wants water. Automatically, it does it all by itself. It's just neat. I was able to design a system that would power a wash machine. Then the solar panels can run this starting at 9 a.m. That's when I started laundry this morning. 9 a.m. And Carolyn didn't like how dirty the clothes were. She's pretty picky about the rinse water. And so we put it on a light cycle this morning because there wasn't a lot of clothes. But we should have went ahead and put it up on one extra level. So the highest level on this is 1 wash cycle, 3 rinse cycles. The lowest setting is 1 wash cycle, 1 rinse cycle. She would have preferred to put it on the heavy setting. That's fine. I think this wash machine actually does a fantastic job. Carolyn absolutely loves how well this thing washes. I honestly think this thing washes better than a regular house wash machine. It has intelligent design, so it can tell what your load size is, how much water you need, all that stuff. It's pretty neat. And we're powering it from solar panels and an RV water pump. So at 9 o'clock, I started this. It uses, on big loads like the blankets, it'll use 40 gallons of water. Now, a lot of people go, that's a lot of water. But we were using more water in those sinks when Carolyn was doing wash by hand than we are here. And she went through whole cycle on how she did her laundry. So this is using the same amount of water, but getting the clothes cleaner with more cycles. She did a wash and a rinse. Then she would take her rinse and do darks. So it's already got rinse water. So she would do the darks in the rinse water. And then she'd have to have another sink of clean water to rinse the darks. So it was quite a bit of water she was using out there and wasn't getting as much cleanliness as what this is providing. Of course, I'm not selling this and I'm not trying to advertise that you should buy it. I'm suggesting, think about how cool it is. I got a comment this morning, and there's 2 things I had a problem with. One, I'm really happy that he's going to go live off grid. That's what he wants to do. That's great. But the first thing he said was, I got solar panels and batteries and a windmill, and I'm going to have all the power I need. Well, then you've missed the boat. You didn't explain water. I've said in several videos now, water has to be your first priority. If you're not thinking about water, don't think about living off grid. Don't think about solar panels, because none of that matters if you don't have water. You got to have water. It's got to be the first thought. I mean, look at all the things that I just did. I can run the well pump without solar panels or a windmill. I can run the well pump with a generator if I need to. Electric doesn't need to be the priority. I hear people say you got to have air conditioning. Air conditioning is not the priority. If you don't have water, you're not going to stay alive long enough to worry about the air conditioner. You got to have water. The second thing he said that I think he missed the boat, and he's just not going to hold on to pride for very long, is he's having someone else hook it up. It's got to be you. You have to be the one that do it. You're going to miss it. There's a flavor to it. And if you don't do it yourself, you're going to miss it. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was talking about the government wants us to get rid of our chickens. So if I can inspire you to seriously do your dream yourself. Sing and live your dreams. Thanks for watching.